it's hard because social media strays people in such a wrong direction. And I feel like it's my responsibility to get people back on track and be like, no, this is the reality. This is the truth, you know? So skincare and then makeup's the plus on top of it.
Hello, it is Tracy, and this is another episode of 30, Flirty, and Surviving, the podcast dedicated to being in your 30s and just trying to get by day by day. Our new episodes come out every Monday at 9 a.m. on all streaming platforms, which is YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and iHeart. And you can follow everything from like clips from the show, behind the scenes stuff on Instagram at 30 Flirty Surviving. I am feeling a little girly today. I'm feeling like I'm very in touch with my feminine side. And I thought something that we haven't covered yet, something that might be really fun, would be makeup. I have always loved makeup. I remember being young, watching my mom put hers on in the mirror, stealing her lipsticks. I think it's a really cool way to like express yourself. And I know that like some people, it's fill in my eyebrows, pop some mascara on and head out the door. And some people like a full glam, but there's so many different things that you can do with it, which makes it so great and so fun. And also, if any of you are like me and you've been watching Euphoria, your creative juices have been flowing. So I thought, who better than none other Miss Garineh? Is that how to say it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you say it perfectly for me.
Garineh.
Oh my God. You're doing something to me when you say that. From Glamour Cosmetics. And if you are a girl in the Boston area and you have not been living under a rock, I'm sure you already know who she is. You can follow her on social media at Glamour Cosmetics Official. You can also take a peek at her website at www.glamourcosmeticsofficial.com. We actually met so many years ago, like back in maybe 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
Crazy. So I've mentioned it on the show before. I used to have a blog that I did with a friend. And so we did this event one night and it was called Rose and Rentals. We did it at Rent Best Dress when they were in the Navy Yard in Charlestown. Yeah. And we had you come in and at the time, remember like the Kylie Jenner lip was the big thing. Everyone was so obsessed with it. And so you set up your own little station and you were teaching girls how to contour like their lips a little bit and get that really plump, full look. Since then, I mean, you've just like taken off. You've skyrocketed. You have your own salon now. You have been in magazines like Martha Stewart and Boston Magazine. You've been featured in there. You have a full team of 9. You are doing makeup for the likes of Camille Caustic. I mean, it is insane. It's insane. You have a lot to be proud of. So first and foremost, congratulations to you. But if someone is living under a rock and they haven't heard of Glamour Cosmetics yet, how do you typically describe it or tell people what your offerings are?
So I started Glamour Cosmetics in like 2015 was really when I started it. So we are one of New England's leading bridal makeup companies. We service about 200 weddings a year all over New England. And then we do several destination weddings a year as well.
So where exactly is the salon that you have?
So we have a studio that's like by appointment only and Lexington Center.
Okay.
And we take our trial appointments there for all of our brides. And then if somebody wants to get their makeup done for a special event, they would make an appointment with us as well.
Well, that is really good to know because from the outside looking in, I see a lot of weddings, right? But I wasn't sure exactly that people could also schedule just like if they have a birthday party or a bachelorette or like what big dinner coming up, they can come and get their glam done by you personally as well. Yeah. And then destination weddings. I mean, how do you manage that on top of everything else?
It's so fun. I love it. I feel like it's such an honor for somebody to trust you and fly you out for their wedding. So this year I'm doing 3 destination weddings. I'm actually going to St. Lucia next week.
Oh my gosh.
And then Germany in May and Dominican Republic in September. So it's really such an honor that like they chose you and then they flew you out, and of all the vendors that they could have picked, they picked you. So
talk about living the dream.
Really
I mean, like,
I feel so blessed.
What a balance of work and play too.
Yeah, exactly. My husband's coming with me. We're gonna have a week. Yeah,
yeah. And were you guys high school sweethearts, or have you known each other from forever?
We've known each other since we were like 14.
That is crazy. And you've been married now for how long?
Since 2019, September 2019.
Wow.
I don't even know what year it is, so however long that is.
I love that. But I'm sure like having been a bride, that experience must be really helpful for you as you are helping brides throughout this process, and like what they're looking for, what will make them feel good, how to make them feel really special, all that stuff. So that's cool that you have that perspective too. And I'm sure he's been a huge supporter. I remember when you were putting the studio up, like watching him doing the wall
literally
decals,
everything.
He was such a trooper.
I don't know what I would do without him. I mean, he has supported me. I don't think I'd be where I am without his support. He's the one that pushed me to quit my job. I used to work down the street at the courthouse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he pushed me to quit and do this full time, and he's always helping me out, and like mentally, emotionally, and then physically, like literally building my studio. He did everything. I don't know what I would have done without him.
Oh, that's so sweet. Shout out to hubby. Yes. So speaking of that, I mean, obviously you made a huge transition from more of a corporate, 9 to 5 to getting into this space. Prior to that, like, when did makeup become a thing for you, and how did you know makeup was part of your passion?
Honestly, it just happened so organically. I was on my path to become an attorney, like since like middle school. I thought that's what I wanted to be.
And so crazy.
I went to law school. I was doing that whole thing, and then I just wasn't happy. Like I did so well academically, but I think my creativity, I come from a creative family, and I feel like my creativity was like non-existent when I was in law school. So I feel like it really drained me, and I just was like mentally not happy. And Instagram was like new-ish at that time. Like at least it wasn't what it is now.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So I started posting on Instagram just like a makeup look of myself. And I remember my first post, I sent it to one of my friends out in LA who's a makeup artist there. She was already established, and I was like, is this good enough? And it was like the most ridiculous photo. But I posted it, and it was just something fun for me to do. I never ever intended or ever thought that it would become a full-blown business. It literally was just like, let me post this fun makeup look on Instagram because that's what people were doing on Instagram.
That is incredible.
Like tutorials and stuff, like fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I posted a few photos, and then I got one wedding request, and I was like, this is really weird. Like, I'm not even a professional makeup artist, but I jumped for it.
Wow.
And I was so nervous, but I did that wedding, and then I remember getting to that, I remember getting to that wedding, and I saw the hairstylist, and the hairstylist is now my friend, but somebody that I was following for so long on Instagram, I thought she was like the coolest thing, and I was like, they picked me alongside this hairstylist? Like, I was so like baffled. And anyway, that one wedding led to another wedding, and then just another one and another one. And then honestly, that's how it started, super organically. I never intended it to become a business.
It was just like, here's something that I like to do and that I enjoy, and you're just kind of putting it out there, and people obviously could tell you had a knack for it, and that's where the inquiries began.
Yeah, I don't even think I knew that I had a knack for it. I swear, it was something so fun for me. Yeah. And that was it.
So it was no professional background at that point. I mean, it was all self-taught from learning from other videos or just playing around with what works with, your features and your face.
Yeah.
Did you end up having to get certain certifications from there or go to classes or school?
So when I started, I was literally just doing makeup on myself. I wasn't even watching YouTube videos. I was just doing what I thought was like fun and looked pretty, and that was pretty much it. I remember sitting on the floor and like doing my cousin's makeup for the first time and like trying to do her eyeliner, and it was horrific. Like, it was the first time I had touched anyone else's face. And then all of a sudden I was literally doing weddings. But so when it started to pick up, I would say like late 2015. I mean, I'm talking like this was a matter of like 3 months where I was like, whoa, like what is going on? And so I decided that like I needed to go out and like learn because I didn't know really what I was doing, and I didn't want to be, I wanted to go confidently, and I think that was a big difference. Like maybe other people think I'm good, but I want to be confident in what I'm doing. So there was a makeup artist out in LA that my friend moved to work with her, and I had looked up to her for years, and I went out to LA and I took a course with her. She's now the founder of LC Cosmetics. She's like in Ulta. She's huge. But I feel so blessed to have been like learned from her. And then I brought like those skills back to Boston. Now LA makeup is super different than Boston even till today, but I feel like it kind of set me apart having that like LA flair, you know, and then like bringing it to Boston. At the time in Boston, everybody was doing like super natural, no makeup, like literally something that you could do at home, but that was the style here. So I feel like when I moved back from LA, I brought that flair, and like I'm Armenian, like I know like Middle Eastern's like a little bit more makeup, even though like I myself am more natural, but I feel like it was something that people didn't see here. So when I started, that's when I started my soft glam, signature soft glam look.
We're gonna get into that in a little bit, but that is such a good point. I mean, I don't think Boston's ever been known for breaking boundaries in the fashion beauty space. LA tends to be much further ahead of us. But that's probably what was able to kind of set you apart, because it was something new, something different, also gorgeous and beautiful. And so people are kind of like, hold on, wait a second. I can experiment a little bit more. I can try a little bit something different. So what exactly then was the turning point for you, and when you were thinking to yourself, okay, I have been getting enough of these wedding inquiries. Like, I need to make this into an actual business, and something that then prompted, you know, a studio of your own and coming up with a business model and prices and expanding your team.
So I was about 3 years in. I don't even like count 2015 because I didn't even know what I was doing. So it was really like 2015, let's say 2016, and then 2018. So I started to work at the courthouse here in Seaport in 2015 at the same time. So things like picked up at the same time. No, it was 2013 that I started working at the courthouse. Anyway, I was like, again, like 2018, I was starting to feel drained and very complacent in that job. And this was picking up. I felt like I was doing 2 full-time jobs. It was me and one other girl at that time. And I was like doing, I hope they're not listening. I was creating contracts while I was at work. And like, you know, it was not, I couldn't do both. I was drowning. And once again, I started to become unhappy. And I was like, okay, this is it. I need to cut the cord. It's either going to be one or the other. I can't do both anymore. So I talked to my husband. I talked to some friends. It took me probably like, so August of 2018, I quit my job, but it took me like a year to make that decision and be like, okay, I can do it. And if for any reason I fail, I'll just pick up another job, you know? But I wasn't gonna fail. I wasn't gonna take no for an answer, and I knew that. So if I didn't know what it was, I was gonna figure it out, you know? So that's kind of like the mindset that I had. And then at that point, my weddings were booking a year out, so I had like financial stability. I knew that it was gonna be okay. So really, like, that's when I felt like I could make the jump, and like the support of my husband was everything.
I can't imagine how terrifying it must have been, though, right? I mean, you're not just like, oh yeah, I was in a you know, working at a restaurant. Not that there's anything like against that, but like, I mean, you went to law school. You were in a full driven career path.
Like, I was in a cushy federal government job. You know, like that was paying, because in like 5 more years, they were going to pay off my $1 billion student loans, you know? But, you know, that was my biggest thing. I was like, should I stay 5 more years and like have them pay? And I was like, I can't do it, you know? So it was just another point in my life where I was like, I'm not happy. What's next?
Wow. I am impressed, because that is not easy.
It wasn't easy, for sure.
So then, I mean, a lot of it seems like was coming in through social media. Then I'm sure start getting referrals.
Exactly.
As the business is growing, like, where did you find your clientele? Is it all just word of mouth? Is it the social media?
So in the beginning, it was all social media. That's where people would find me. That's where, you know, they would book me, they would inquire. And then once word started getting around, it was like I did the bridesmaid at a wedding, and now she was getting married, so she would reach out. Or my friend, got married. I saw her walk down the aisle. I thought her makeup was gorgeous. So it was definitely like word of mouth. So now it's like a mix of both. I would say, yeah. I would say like 60%. Actually, I don't even want to give percentages, but like, I don't know, half and half, social media and then word of mouth.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So you've really never had to like advertise or put into like pay or marketing and stuff. I mean, you've been able to really just be organic, who you are, put the pictures speak for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. No, I've never paid for an advert. I can't think of a single time I've paid for an advertisement. Even like the Knot and Wedding Wire, I never paid for those sites. I'm on there, but I never paid for them. And I always just utilize like, I think just Instagram, but also really just like word of mouth. I think that's what it was. Like just really getting personal with your client and then creating almost like a friendship outside of what you're doing with them. And that in and of itself is gonna, have them go out and talk about you and all of that. So,
and I think, I mean, it's clearly who you are by nature, this, strong work ethic. I'm sure though your experience with being in law school, like that really helped, I'm sure, set a foundation of how hard you need to work. And then that mentality of, I'm not going to let this fail. Yeah. I mean, you also have this personality of like, you could talk to anybody. You are so sweet. You're very warm. You're inviting. And so the people like that I think is also what captures people a lot too, is just like, I could hang out with her. I mean, sometimes makeup can be like an hour long, it's like I could sit there in a chair and chat with her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people want that too, not only just how great your technique is,
absolutely,
but like, are you someone that I want to spend time with? Are you somebody that I actually feel excited to like pay, you know what I mean? Like it's your money, you know,
feel comfortable about it. I think majority of what we do is like your personality and like, are you able to foster that relationship with somebody? Like, I don't really care how good you are, but if I'm going to sit there and you're going to be like straight face and not talk to me, I don't want, if I, for example, if I was getting my hair done or something, so that we're in a people facing industry. Like, that's one of the most important things. You need to have that personality.
And especially if it's someone's wedding.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm sure this happens very, very, very infrequently. But, what if there was something that it was like, I wish we could change the color on the eyeshadow a little bit like this. If I don't feel comfortable with you, I may not say it. Yeah. And then I'm going to go and have these pictures and say I hated my makeup. But like, so you need to be approachable. Exactly. You need to have that.
Or you're going to go fix it yourself and I'm going to cry in back. You need to be able to make the person feel comfortable and let them know like, this is your face. I'm just here to make you happy and make you look good. And that means like whatever your comfort level is. And every single client that sits in my chair, I say that if I can do whatever you want. I just can't read your mind. So don't hesitate to tell me what you want to change, because I would want to speak up if I was getting my hair done or something. I would want to be able to feel comfortable saying it. So, so important.
Okay, so now I want to go back to the soft glam. Now that we're talking about looks a little bit more, I mean, for me, I think it's this perfect balance of feeling like you have a little extra oomph, a little something, but not something that's so crazy that you couldn't wear it during the day, or you would feel so unlike yourself. You know what I mean? Because you still want to feel like you. You just want to feel like you're just a more like a elevated version.
Yeah, exactly.
So, why do you think you gravitated toward that space? Is it just that's what you learned in LA, or did you feel like that was kind of your comfort zone?
I think that's definitely my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It wasn't, when I went out to LA and I studied, I learned the techniques that I needed to become a professional, but I really, targeted the looks towards the audience here. And I think that's super important too. So, it was really what I was comfortable with and what I thought like looked beautiful on everybody. And at that time, what made people feel most confident. Yeah. So honestly, like soft glam for me and my definition is exactly what you said, just an elevated version of yourself, but whatever that means to you as well. we can throw on the lashes, you can put on the lip, you feel good, you look put together, but you're not overly done where you don't recognize yourself, or you go home and your friends and family don't like it, or you feel overdone. You know, like that confidence is everything. Yeah. I think it speaks to who I am as well. Like I feel like as a makeup artist, everybody thinks I'm going to walk into the room with like full blown, but it's not who I am. Yeah. So I feel like it ties well with my personality too.
And it's still something that you can tweak per individual, which I think is really important too. It's not just like, here is the same foundation, eyeshadow, lip that I use on everybody, and this is what you're going to get with me. You know the style, but it's still going to be customizable, and it still can be, you know, tweaked up and down for each person, which is really cool. So let's talk about the wait list, because I imagine you don't have openings for next week to show up at the studio. So people can go online and put inquiries in. Is there actually a booking service too, or do they just write the inquiry and say what they're looking for, and then you guys get back to them?
Yeah, so they'll go on our website, they'll fill out the inquiry form, and then in 24 to 48 hours, we'll get back to them. The bridal wait list is like, I mean, you can contact us at any time, especially in like 2020. I think we serviced like, I don't even know what the number was, but so many like emergency weddings where their makeup artist like didn't show up or canceled like a week before. So call us anytime. We'd be happy to help. But it's best to get in touch like a year and a half out.
For a wedding. Wow. Okay. All my girls in your 30s who are getting married, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I think people
plan accordingly.
Your face is like the most, I think, like one of the most important things, right? You want to feel confident. Your face, your hair, your dress. Like, so don't put makeup and hair last, because the good ones are not going to be there if you wait until like 3 months before your wedding.
Right.
You know?
And even if you're a person that's more of, the pictures are important to me. Hello, your face is in every single picture. It's not just about how you're looking in person. Like it's going to be in every aspect of your
your
wedding.
Confidence exudes in those photos. So that's it for me, is like your confidence level. If you feel good, I feel good. Yeah. You know?
Okay, so what about, say we have girls out there listening that have a 30th birthday coming up, and they want to go out a night on the town and get their makeup done. What does a wait list for that look like? Are there spots available?
Yeah, so there'll be spots available. Yeah, you can call us anytime. So I have a team of 9 girls. You know, one of us would be able to service you most likely. It just depends on the day, the time. You know, weekends are tough, especially during the thick of wedding season. Yeah. So you're looking mostly at weekdays, but yeah, anytime, call us.
Okay, cool. And then what does the process look like too once I show up? Is there like a mini little consultation? Do you do that over the phone? Is that what the form's for?
Yeah, so bridal specifically, you mean?
I'm thinking, well, yeah, we can do both. Let's do both. Yeah, because I want to know what the bridal, because that's a little bit more in depth.
Yeah. So if you're just inquiring for an appointment, you would fill out the form. We'd get on a phone call. I do those by phone call because it's just easier that way. So you come into the studio, we ask for inspiration images if you have any of what you're looking for. We ask what dress you're wearing, what your hair is going to look like, so we can kind of put the look together. And then obviously, like, depending on your inspiration photos, but also like your face and your bone structure and all your features, we'll talk to you about what we, like as a professional, what we think is going to look best on you, which important. I think is a hard point for a lot of people. Yeah. So,
well, it's just like with you, we're talking about like a hairstylist. Yeah. If I went into a hairstylist and said I want my hair to be bleach blonde, I would pray that the stylist would be like, sweetie, that's not going to happen all in one day. You know what I mean? And that's why they're coming to you. If they knew everything, they'd be doing their makeup themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
And I that's a mistake that I used to make. Like you see something and you're like, that looks good on her, I want it. I mean, the same thing happened with my wedding dress, but you see makeup and you're like, that looks good on her, I want it. And then you do it and you're like, wait, that doesn't look best with my features, you know? So it's just about getting that professional opinion of what looks good on you, but then, you know, obviously aiming towards what your inspiration is. So that's how like just an one-off appointment would be handled. But then for bridal, it's a whole process. You would fill out the inquiry form based on your location, your bridal party size. We would get back to you on who's available from our team, send you the pricing, and then from there we would just start the contract. 99.999% of our clients will book their contract before their wedding because we are booking so far out. So yeah, we would just book the wedding and then book the contract, and then closer to the wedding we usually like to do trials like December through March because it's our downtime. quote unquote. So trials would be held during that time. And same thing, they would come in with inspiration images. We would talk about what your wedding theme looks like, colors, dress, all of that, hair. And then we would put a look together for you that you feel most confident and beautiful in.
Wow. I love how detail oriented you are. Like, you think of everything, and it's not just coming in and taking one look at somebody, or, you know, this is what I do, so this is what's going to happen. You get the whole picture into consideration.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have to get a feel for what you like and what your personality is, you know, what your style is, your dress style. Like, if you're having like a super bohemian wedding and then you show me like, you know, a makeup look that's like, you know, black liner and red lips, I might try to steer you in a direction that's going to be more fluid with your theme. At the end of the day, you're the boss. I'm just there to make you happy. So it's really what you want. But I would give my professional opinion, and I think that that's appreciated too.
Absolutely.
Like, people have noted that. Like, thanks for letting me know, you know, because you don't know unless somebody tells you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like transferable in everything. Even, you know, my like full-time job, I talk with clients and they ask for things or they want certain things. And I'm always scared when it's like, oh, I have to tell them no. Or, you know, something that they're not going to want to hear. But 9 times out of 10, when you do, people are so appreciative for your honesty and your feedback. And you give them a new perspective. And they're more often than not always kind of like, oh, yeah, you're right. You know, as long as you can like explain it fully, which clearly you do.
Yes.
So now I want to pivot a little bit just to like everyday or like makeup in general, kind of tips and tricks. Pick your brain a little bit. Do you have that one classic mistake that you see girls make when it comes to doing their makeup?
I think I'm just going to go back to like what I mentioned. People see inspiration images and they will take it and say, you know, I want to do that. But you really have to like look at your own features and what looks good on you. And, you know, maybe you can do that, but maybe you can do it a little bit differently. You know, for me, for example, I loved to do the winged, like gel wing liner, but it doesn't look that great on me, you know? So I like pivot a little bit and like maybe you'll do it with a little bit of eyeshadow, you know, just, whatever makes you feel like confident, I think. I don't know. I can't think of a mistake because makeup is so subjective. You know, it's just whatever you want, whatever makes you feel beautiful. So I wouldn't say anything's necessarily a mistake. It's just about tweaking it to fit your features the best.
I love that. Is there, kind of playing off of that a little bit, is there one makeup trend that you still see people doing that you feel like is a little outdated, that kind of makes you cringe a little bit? Is it the, you know, excessive contouring? Is it the overlining the lips? Is there something that you would love to say goodbye to in 2022?
I think, well, things that are outdated, I would say is probably like the cut crease look is kind of outdated. But again, this is like like in the bridal industry, you know.
Right, there's kind of a time and place for everything too. Yeah,
it's so hard for me to say. I don't want to sound like politically correct, but makeup is so subjective. So it's hard for me to be like, that's not right. That doesn't look good. You know, whatever you like that's. Yeah. So I think, yes, trending in 2022, yes, softer contour, more of like the diffused kind of look, you know, a little bit of more of like the natural eye look and the softer brows. Yes, that's more trending. Whether or not that's right is really up to you.
I love that. I don't think that you're sugarcoating it too. Like, I really think you're correct. I mean, it's so true. You're being very authentic. It's not you're not being just so PC over here. You're being honest. It's truth. Okay, if you were getting ready in a hurry, you're just you every day, maybe it's just a random Wednesday, what is your key for kind of that no makeup look like we talked about before?
For me, it's definitely going to be my lashes. I don't do lash extensions or anything, but when I curl my lashes, if I get a lash lift or if I use a traditional curler, I look so different. Like, I look like I'm awake.
Yes.
It makes...
Your eyes really like pop.
Yeah. I remember the first time I got my lash lift, I went and my mom was like, you look so different. I can't figure out what it is. And I was like, literally, I just curled my lashes. Like, that's all it is. So that for me, it just makes me look so much more awake. And I love that. So So I would say, like, if nothing, I would just curl my lashes and head out the door.
Okay.
Sunscreen.
So yeah, sunscreen. I'm gonna talk to you about skincare too, because I know how strict you are about that as well. But what product would you say is always in your kit? Like, what do you make sure you always come to every session with a client with?
Oh, in my kit for a client or for myself?
Give me both.
Okay. For me, I would probably do some kind of, like, even if it's chapstick, like something like Aquaphor on my lips. Like, I gotta have something.
Yes, especially in the winter in Boston, Aquaphor is key.
Exactly. As far as the kit, my kit's loaded. I'm not
just
going
has
anywhere
everything.
without a single thing missing. So yeah, there's nothing in there that's not there.
You're always prepared.
Yes.
Always prepared. Okay, so then if you were going to a deserted island.
Yeah.
And you could only bring one product with you for, who knows, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. We don't know how long we're going to be there. But like, what is your, I cannot live without? It can be a specific brand. It could be just a general mascara, like you were talking about the eyes.
Yeah. So I felt like I was on a deserted island this morning when I was at the gym, and I opened my makeup bag and I didn't have any blush. I didn't have I was like, what? I'm going to go there with like no blush on. I look dead. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, I grabbed my tinted lip gloss and I dabbed it on my cheeks, and that's what I used as my blush. So I think that and I'll have said that before, like that's what I would do. Some kind of tinted lip balm. You can use that on your cheeks.
Yeah.
You can use that on your lips. You can use that as your eyeshadow, like use a little contouring on your eyes. That's what I would do.
That is so smart and resourceful.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea. Yeah. It serves many purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so great. Do you feel like there's any hidden secrets that you have from your experience and expertise as being a professional makeup artist that are good for people to know, or that you'd be willing to share?
As far as getting into the industry, I would say it's not really a secret, but I think it's something that can be missed a lot. I think it's important to remember and rely on the community around you. I know that's not where you were going, but I just feel like that is something that I think a lot of people forget. If you won't thrive in this industry if you don't depend and rely and create a friendship and relationship with your community. So the Boston bridal community is very tight, and they're so supportive of one another. And if you are going into this like competition over community, you're not going to make it. So you just have to be, so like, it's not really a secret, but it's something that people definitely need to keep on the forefront of their mind. As far as you mean like a
beauty secret?
A beauty secret?
Yeah.
Okay. I love how I'm taking everything like on a different path than what you're
No,
asking.
I love that, because then I'm getting all this extra information that we need.
Beauty secret, I would say, oh man, I don't know. It's so hard because like for me, it's so constant in my life that I don't know what it is that people don't know. Like
okay, so like let me throw some things out.
Yeah,
like
thanks.
If there's a certain technique when it comes to eyeshadow versus like the lip, like I sometimes do you want them to be in the same color family?
Okay,
do you
I was
want
just
them to
gonna say
contrast?
that. Yes.
Like, what are things if someone's learning to do their own makeup at home that might be helpful so that they can start feeling more confident?
So I think if you can't really go wrong if you keep a monochromatic look. Okay. So if your eyeshadow is like a warm brown, and then you do a very cool pale pink, that's going to contrast too much. It's not going to look, in my opinion, as good as if you did a warm nude lipstick. So and then same thing with your blush. So I like to keep things typically tending to look more monochromatic. I think it gives a little bit of like an elegance that is just so pretty. So I think like you can't go wrong if you keep it monochromatic.
I love that. Yeah. That's really good. Okay, now skincare. Okay. Because I love when you post on you're on Reels and whatnot. You're always showing little like the pimple patches, what products you use. I know it is so important to you, but especially in your profession and this being your career, why is skincare and that prep really the basis of like having, you know, like that glow or like feeling confident, and why is it so important?
So I may or may not like skincare a little bit more than makeup. I love skincare. I just love like taking care of my skin, and it's just like a moment for me in my bathroom to kind of do my thing, but it's so important. So when you sit in your makeup artist chair, in that 45 minutes to an hour, there's only a limited amount of stuff we can do. We can't transform your skin in that time. And I think that people, especially these days, see things on Instagram and they're like, I want to look like that. Well, first of all, it's photoshopped 99% of the time. Second of all, like you might not have the same skincare routine they do. So keep your skin in like tip-top shape. The majority of the work you're going to have to do at home, and then you go to your esthetician for maintenance. But you're going to have to do that work at home, like, you know, basics like cleanse. You won't believe how many people don't cleanse. Like, and it may just not be something that they've learned, which is, you know, now you know. So cleanse, tone, moisturize, sunscreen. That's like basic, you know, so you got to do that. And then you can start throwing in your treatments, your vitamin C, your AHAs and BHAs. That's going to take you up a notch. And then when I have clients that come in and they're like, you know, makeup, I'm just going to put it out here. Everybody listen up. Makeup settles into fine lines. It is what it is, and there's nothing your makeup artist can do about it. So I'm very transparent with my clients about that, because I think honesty is so important. If your face moves, your makeup's going to move with it, and that's okay. Yeah. It's okay that you have fine lines, you know, and it's just something that you have to accept. So if you don't want that, your only option is to get Botox or filler, and that's what it is. So it's hard because social media strays people in such a wrong direction, and I feel like it's my responsibility to get people back on track and be like, no, this is the reality. This is the truth, you know? So skincare, and then makeup's the plus on top of it.
That is so important. It truly is. We have such a twisted ideal of reality, and we're always seeing these unobtainable goals on Instagram because people aren't honest about what they Photoshop or what work they've had done, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you see somebody who's really new to skincare or to makeup, it can be really scary. Like, why don't I look like them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why am I not measuring up? And the truth is because everything you've seen is a lie.
Yeah, exactly. And because your skin is skin. Yeah. And your pores are real.
Right.
Like, and you know, you know, there's only so much you can do, but having a good skincare routine is going to be your best friend.
Yeah. And also, I mean, once we get older, yes, there's certain things we can do, like you're talking about. There's the retinols, there's the injections, but a lot of times the damage to your skin isn't always reversible. No. You know, like you only really get, I mean, I know skin sheds, I know all that stuff, but when there's real damage, like there's only so much you can do. Yeah. And so being conscious of it early on and starting, I wish I started much earlier. I wish I wore sunscreen when I was younger. You know, all that stuff is really going to help in that area.
People spend so much money on makeup. But if you just spent that money on sunscreen, you wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't have to cover it up. So and the same thing goes with other skincare. I can't stop talking about sunscreen because people spend so much money on skincare and then they don't put on sunscreen. But there's no point in the rest of your skincare routine if you're not putting on sunscreen.
And speaking of money, I mean, also let's not forget how much water and good sleep goes a long way too. It's not like you can get water for free, girlfriend. Drink your freaking water. I know,
and I'm the worst at it, but yes, drink your water. I've been trying to be better, but yes, absolutely.
Those are little things you can do that aren't going to cost you, you know, a ton of money. They're not going to, and they're great for your overall self-care and well-being too, you know. But those, like, I mean, water, I always used to be obsessed with Olivia Culpo. And she always was like, I drink like a gallon of water every single day, and I swear by it for my skin.
I mean, your brain. Like, your brain is water. So, like, literally, your organs, everything. So, water is so important. And then you can see when a client sits in the chair and they're dehydrated, you can tell immediately. And then you just say, like, make sure you drink a ton of water before your wedding day, you know? So,
and, like, watching what you eat, too, right? Do you feel a lot of times there's flare-ups with greasy foods and that sort of stuff, or does it depend on person to person?
I have heard through estheticians and dermatologists that I trust that that's a myth. That
Really?
like food doesn't actually affect your skin. I don't know. I'm not an esthetician or a dermatologist. Right. I don't know. The salt, I think, it dehydrates you, so you get like a little bit puffier. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure about actual food.
That's
yeah.
That one
that's what I've heard.
Threw me for a loop.
Think,
I thought you were going to say for sure.
I know. I think it's like a controversial maybe topic. I don't know, but one dermatologist that I trust and one esthetician that I trust have both said the same thing, and they're both like elite in their industry. So I'm listening to them.
Well, it's so funny because I think girls too, we're always like, oh, when we're about to get our periods or menstrual cycles.
That's true.
But that's the hormones too. And like then, sometimes you think, oh, well, because I was feeling hungry because I'm PMSing, I ate this food, but it's not really the burger that gave you the pimple. It's the hormones, honey.
Exactly.
It's the hormones.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, so learning about kind of like what skin types you have. You said you can tell when someone's dehydrated. Yes. Again, I know this isn't necessarily your niche, but I know that you love it. Like for me, for example, I've always had kind of oily skin, and I was always afraid of serums and oils because I thought, oh, you don't want to put more oil on top of oil. Right. But that's completely false. Yes. And I've learned how much it actually is helpful. Yes. But are there any tips or tricks you have for people that are, oily versus normal versus combination skin?
So I think, again, like going back to that skincare, exactly what you said is so true. People with oily skin are so scared to put on oil. But the reason why your skin is oily majority of the time is because it's so dehydrated that it's overproducing oil. So you have to hydrate your skin so it doesn't try to work harder to keep your skin supple. If you're dry skin like I am, or dehydrated because I need to do better with my water, you're gonna want to keep your skin as hydrated as possible. For me, it's like hydrate as much as you can. And then exfoliate as well. Like your retinols are going to be great. Be very careful with your retinols, but retinols are really great. And
girl, I've had those retinol scaries too many times. My dermatologist is like, we can move up to like the 0.025. I'm like, no.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a journey. But I also, with my clients, my bridal clients, I do like a skincare assessment with them. And actually, you know what, for this podcast, anyone who's listening, if you guys want to send me an email, I'd be happy to send you like a questionnaire that I send out my clients.
Very cool.
And then you fill it out, basically like what your skin is now, what your skin goals are, and then based on your answers, I talk to my preferred esthetician, and we put a routine together for you with the specific product recommendations.
That is
so
cool.
That helps clients, before their wedding day, and I'd be happy to do it for anyone who's listening.
That is such a good idea.
Yeah,
and
people don't know. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. It's completely foreign to a lot of folks. But also, if you're booking out a year and a half, you have some time. You have some time to put in the work and do the prep. Yeah. So that's really cool. But also just, I think it goes back to too, like just getting a little bit older, you know, like maybe I don't have a wedding or a special event coming up, but it's just about taking care of ourselves.
That's all it is. Yeah. And I think that people are overwhelmed by the number of steps, but it doesn't have to be that serious. Yeah. And then if once you get used to it, everyone says like, the most common thing I get is like, I don't have time. Well, make that time for yourself. Oh my God, it's literally 5 minutes. You don't have to wait in between. You layer. You don't have to wait, and it'll do its job. And that's it. Like, it's 5 minutes to yourself.
My sister opens the like closet that I have in my bathroom, and this thing is like 6 feet. Like, it's a tall closet, deep shelves, and I have everything and anything you could possibly imagine. Come on over anytime. And she thinks I'm a lunatic. She thinks I'm crazy. She's like, how do you have the time to do this twice a day? You have the different types of serums, you have moisturizer, you have like the exfoliants, the toners. I'm like, because it's important, and also different seasons too, or like different stages with your cycle and your hormones, or certain things that I need. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think it's important to like. Another mistake that a lot of people make is that they get like the samples from like their like Sephora box or something. Yeah. And they'll start trying every single thing out, but your skin needs time to get used to it. And then I'm like, oh, what do you use for your skincare? And they're like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little, but like the same product but in different brands, but your skin likes consistency. Yeah. So find what works and then keep using that. Keep that routine going. Your skin needs time to adjust and for you to be able to see those results.
Yeah. That actually makes me think of another thing. I did not know this. This was a couple years ago when I was just starting to be better about my skincare routine. I have celiac, so I have a gluten intolerance.
Yes.
And I went to Sephora and I was like, I just want to pick out all these things. And the guy who was working actually said to me, oh, well, if you have a gluten allergy, you can't buy this. I didn't even think about the allergies that we have and the product. I think about, what we eat,
yes.
but the shampoos we use, the skincare we use, there's certain things that have, like, you can't have a shellfish allergy. You can't have a gluten allergy, because that can also add to any breakouts or flare-ups that you're having. So understanding what the product ingredients are too.
Yes.
Do you have a certain, either maybe it's like a more of a organic or any type of line that you prefer?
So I love Beauty Counter. I genuinely do. I think that they have done and it took me years to like jump on that wagon, but they do such a good job of picking out harmful ingredients that you wouldn't believe, that they're like higher than like EU standards. Yeah. And I use their shampoo, I use their skincare, because I started to break out on my back, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and on my forehead, and I realized it must be my shampoo after like trial and error. And ever since I switched over to their shampoo, love their stuff. I think less is more when it comes to ingredients. Yeah. But also don't be scared. Like, if you read an ingredient that you can't pronounce, it just means you can't pronounce it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's something bad. Another local brand that I love, shout out, is Brown and Coconut. It's a Black-owned company, two sisters. I met them like in 2014 or something, maybe 2013 at SOA. I fell in love with their products. Still have them today at the studio, sell them, sell them to my clients. Love their stuff. Again, like plant-based, that's plant-based beauty. I love it. It's tough when you have an allergy like that, but I think you can, if with some homework, and you can find the products that work for you.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting to the end to kind of wrap this up. I know we've gone through a lot of different areas, right? Like the makeup, the skincare, getting the business started, where you came from before that. One of the things that I always like to end with is sort of asking for your final piece of advice, or in summary, what do you want to be the biggest takeaway for people that are listening? Because I think the reason why we're having these guests on, and why I want to put the spotlight on you guys, hear from you. Of course, the expertise is really wonderful, but it's also learning about like the journey, and like hopefully empowering people and getting them excited to quit their day job and pursue their passion. So it can be from the makeup, like tips and tricks space. It can be from your experience, but anything that you really want people at home to know.
Man, that's a loaded question.
I know.
I think, just follow what you're passionate about, and if you don't know what that passion is, it's okay. You'll find it. Just hone into something that you maybe like, and then it'll kind of happen organically, hopefully. But also, like, go out there and work hard, and don't take no for an answer. I always say, like, if you can't figure it out, figure out how to figure it out, and you'll get there. And I just trust yourself more than anything. Try to, find the support of your community around you. Don't be afraid to keep growing and keep learning and keep asking. But trust yourself. I think if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
I love that. That is a perfect way to close this out. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. I mean, it's so good to see you.
You too.
I can't
this was so much fun.
How long it's been.
I know.
So if you guys are interested in perhaps getting your makeup done, you guys can go to www.glamourcosmeticsofficial.com. Also check out Glamour Cosmetics Official on Instagram. I'm telling you guys, I mean, we barely touch the surface. She's always showing what products she's using. She shows you her nighttime routine. She's showing you before and afters of brides, so you can see everything. It is a great way to just, like you said, start learning and start figuring things out for people at home. Anything else that do you have anything that's like an event or anything coming up that people should look out for? Anything we need to know?
So we teach classes as well.
Okay.
If anyone's interested in doing, like, if you're trying to become a professional makeup artist, we have a course for that. But then if you're just like the general public that wants to learn how to do your own makeup, we do that as well at the studio. So anything that you want, just get in touch and we'll figure out a way to make it happen.
So cool. You are the best and you're the sweetest. Thank you again so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you again next week.